And up steps to the plate Eric Thames. And then 7 innings later, Mike Moustakas says, if you can do it, I can do it too.
First time he's seen Verlander in his career. He's 1 out of 2. And Thames in the air to left field. Going back on it is Bradley. And this one is gone. A game-tying home run for Eric Thames. Eric Thames has tied the game 3-3 in the 7th. Fastball up and away at 96. And Thames, with all of that strength, just reached out and poked it to left. And the short porch gives the Brewers a tie game. 14th inning. Here is Moustakas. Yelich still at first. A game that is now 4 hours old. And Bush has been good against lefties. Moustakas drives one deep right center field. And there it goes! Mike Moustakas does it again. Off the LED signage in the second deck. Moustakas with number 21, and the Brewers have the lead. It's 5-3.
And that would be the final score. Okay, and since Chappie's in the chat room talking about Miles Michaelis, I'll just go ahead and go through the standings and come back to my little segment on Moustakas, because what we're going to do this morning is a little something different. We're going to dig deep. You love it, Chappie. Dig deep with some second basemen, and I'm going to give you some statistics, because numbers, that's fantasy, right? I'm going to give you some numbers on Mike Moustakas. We're going to compare him or contrast him to other players, including the great one, the invincible one, Javier Baez for the Cubs. I'm going to show you how Moustakas is a better value than Javier Baez. Yes, I'll do that in a few minutes. Let's talk about the National League. First of all, Texas is 9 games out. As I told you, they still lead the wild card. Oakland, winners at Tampa Bay, 11 games out. And that's a look at the American League. Let's get into the National League. Because, Chappie, you've brought up a good point. You know, I would never recommend Miles Michaelis in any situation against any team. Even against the Marlins. I'm telling the truth. I think he's garbage. I don't want him in fantasy now or later. Okay? He doesn't throw hard enough. He pitches to contact, which is what the Pittsburgh Pirate pitchers apparently do too. And it's time to have a little different strategy in Pittsburgh, don't you think? Okay? Unholy Toledo says a Michaelis regression was easy to anticipate, and boy, did he regress last night. Wow, I've been talking to you about Garrett Cooper, haven't I? Boy, did Garrett Cooper ever have a big game last night.
A drive deep left center field. That baby is gone. It's a grand slam, the second grand slam for Garrett Cooper in his career, and the Marlins lead 5-0. Has a flair for the dramatic, Greg. There's no doubt about it. Triple to start the ball game. Huge moment right here. We told you coming into this, Michaelis has struggled mightily with runners in scoring position. Now the 6th home run he has given up leads all of Major League Baseball in the situation, and guess what? Happens to be a grand slam. There is a 94-mile-an-hour sinking fastball kind of hunting in. Homer second inning. He's got the 2 trickiest parts of the elusive cycle out of the way. Long way to go.
So you've got Cooper, 3 for 5 with a triple, a grand slam, second run scored last night, 9-0 over the Cardinals. Okay? Let's talk about Cooper first, shall we? Because Cooper, he's had hits in 5 straight games. Over that period, that's 18 at-bats. He's had 7 hits out of 18 at-bats. That's 357, okay? And he's 28 years old, in the prime of his career. Since mid-May, bigger sample size, since mid-May, Garrett Cooper is hitting 340. That's over 25 games with 6 home runs and 20 RBIs. And Garrett Cooper, I think, is the biggest reason why the Miami offense has woken up. I mean, you're talking about a hibernating bear. That's what the Marlins had. And now Cooper's hot. And look for Cooper to continue to hit. And he's also multi-positional eligible. You know, he plays outfield. Last night he's playing first base. In every league now, he's eligible at first base and in the outfield. Now, pitching-wise, how about the rookie Yamamoto? Last night, he pitched 7 shutout innings, and he also had a bunt RBI.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. We won't know. He's going to get a shot at least at the start of the 7th inning. A bunt on a squeeze. He pulled it off on the first pitch from Tyler Webb, who just came in, and he has an RBI, his first major league RBI. What a night for Jordan Yamamoto. And a fly ball to right field. Anderson camping. And Yamamoto, 7 shutout innings.
Yamamoto picked up the win, 9-0 over the Cardinals, gave up 3 hits, only walked 2, struck out 5. The 2 hits, a Paul DeJong double and a Paul Goldschmidt single. Okay? But with 2 runners on in the same inning, okay, here's what happened. The rookie got Marcell Ozuna to foul out, and then he got a double play ball out of veteran Yadier Molina. Okay? Now, probably Yamamoto, he's probably temporary. Okay? Caleb Smith and Urena are on the IL. They're not expected to be out very long. He will probably get, though, at least one more turn in the rotation. And guess who it's against? It's a rematch against the Cardinals, but this time it'll be in St. Louis. So that's just a kid that, you know, he'd be a flyer more than anything else. I don't think he's going to be up very long, but somebody certainly that you might want to take a look at. He seemed to be in control, and I love the suicide squeeze bunt last night. I mean, did you see it? He drove in his first run. His family's there at the game. Just a great, night for a young kid. Now let's talk about Michaelis. All right. Michaelis, he had fairly good success last year for St. Louis, but not at all this year. His season-long numbers now, he's 4-7, 57 strikeouts, a 4.83 ERA, a 123 whip. Last night he pitched 5 innings, gave up 8 hits, 5 earned runs. He only strikes out 4. He's lost 5 straight decisions. His last win came over a month ago. All right. During this period, the last 5 decisions, he has a 6.03 ERA, a 137 whip, and that's 31 innings. He pitches again against Miami at home next week. But what's to make me think that Michaelis is going to have any better success last week or next week or anytime? I'm telling you. Michaelis is someone I do not want on my fantasy team. And if I have him, I want to get rid of him. Now, looking at that division, we talked about Miami. They're 14 games out, not players as far as contending for division, but they have, been winning of late. And that's a big win. They're off today, and they play Pittsburgh tomorrow in Miami. And those are games that the Marlins can certainly win, I believe. You may disagree with me, but I'm liking Cooper. And I like Ramirez on that team. And so, Chappie, I know his fastball tapped out at 90, but he had St. Louis all out of whack last night. I watched the game. And, that's the thing I love about this kid. And every pitcher now's got to throw 98, 99. Okay? It was more, you'll love this, Chappie, more Greg Maddux-ish in that he wasn't blowing people away, but he was hitting spots, and it was pitching at its best. Okay, you don't have to throw 98. And that's why I think we have so many injuries with pitchers is they think they have to throw the ball through the catcher's mitt. What you have to do is throw it to the catcher's mitt. Did you hear me? Not through his mitt, but to his mitt. And I'm talking about command. And last night, that's exactly what Yamamoto had. He had great command. All right, so we go back to the top of the division. And what have I been telling you for weeks? Whose division is it to win? The Atlanta Braves. That's right. And as I look this morning in the standings, and there's a player on that team I'm really having a crush on too. As I look at the standings this morning in the National League East, Who is on top? Lo and behold, it is the Atlanta Braves. And DK Lush, is that the girl that you wanted to set me up with? I'm just curious. But the Atlanta Braves are a game up now on the Phillies, 5.5 games up on the Mets, 7.5 games up on the Nats. They've won 8 of 10. They've won 6 in a row. And what a night last night. Oh, 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 the life of Riley.
Austin's been a big-time producer, driven high in the air to right. Cabrera onto the right track at the wall. Balls up there. And the Braves are going to score two. Riley around second, on his way to third, to hit off the top of the padding. And Atlanta is a 3-spot. Wow. That ball just kept going and going and going. And it meant bricks and padding, and Atlanta's in business. Swung on and a towering fly ball. Deep center field. Marte at the wall. We are tied. Austin Riley to straightaway center. And it's a 7-7 game in the bottom of the ninth. And just enough on it to get it out of here. So that got Riley on the arm or the hand. I hope it wasn't the hand. He's hit by a pitch to start the inning. And Austin Riley is grimacing. Looks like Austin came away relatively unscathed. That's good news. 7-7 in the 11th. Swing and a hot shot toward the gap. That's going to get down. Riley's rolling around second. A little stumble. He's coming around third. Here he comes. Draw the plate. Braves win it. Ozzie Albies whacks one into the right center field gap, and they are mobbing Ozzie. Riley right in the middle of it.
What a game. What a game. I'm telling you, okay, so Riley comes up early in the game, triples. The ball actually hit on top of the padding in the right field corner. So close to being a home run. Falls down, Riley chugs it around, triple, okay? All right. So then he comes up in the ninth inning. The Pirates are leading 7-6. Pitch is thrown. He tomahawks it. Yeah, I know he's in Atlanta. He tomahawks it. Dead center field. Knocks it out of the park. Ties the game. Okay, so we go to extras, right? We're in extra innings. And so Riley's at bat, of course, and he gets hit by a pitch. Hit by a pitch, so he's on first base. Ozzie Albies comes up. Ozzie Albies then hits a blast into the gap in right center field. Riley is off with the pitch and scores the game-winning walk-off run on the big hit by Ozzie Albies. 8-7, Atlanta wins in 11. And for the rookie third baseman, let's look at some numbers here, okay? 3 for 5 last night with a triple, a home run, 3 runs scored, 3 RBIs. Wow. He's a hero last night, right? He's now hitting .292 with a .623 slugging percentage, 26 big league games with 10 home runs and 29 RBIs. Yeah, he's striking out a lot. But I tell you what, in this day and age of launch angle and home runs, 10 homers in 26 games. Yeah, okay, translate that out. He's on a pace to hit over 50 home runs if he were to play in a full season. So Atlanta wins 8-7. And again, the reason I like to play these audio clips is I want to make an impression on these players on you. I want you to go through your day and say, yeah, I heard about Cooper, triple and home run. I heard about Riley. I heard about Mancini. I heard about Laureano. I heard about Moustakas. And we're going to talk about him now. But it's important as we go into fantasy, I think, and every show is different. That's why we have different shows, right? But I think it's important with what I'm doing to make sure I give you, several nuggets each day. Jack says, what do you say the Braves do with Donaldson? I think it's obvious what they're doing. I don't agree with it. They're playing Donaldson every day. I don't like that move. I wish they would bench him. I wish he'd become a part-time player. And I wish that Inciarte would go back to the outfield. And I wish they'd move Riley to third base on a permanent basis. Donaldson could play a couple of games a week maybe. Okay, let Riley play the outfield. But let it be Inciarte who's playing the majority of the games and not Donaldson. Your defense is a lot better, and Inciarte will hit enough. Donaldson's not hitting that much. Okay? If Donaldson was ripping the cover off the ball, first of all, you wouldn't even be asking the question.